This is our frenemy, the deadlock graph. Just like we saw in Management Studio, this is a screenshot of the very same thing. When we hover over those processes, we see that input buff. Again, it's no more complete than what we saw in the XML. It's the exact same thing, just shown in a little tooltip. So our circle on the left of that deadlock graph is the select query that does the joins between cities, states, and countries. The circle on the right of the graph is that transaction that ends in updating state provinces. The circles on this graph represent the queries. When we look over at that circle on the right, the query that's doing the updates, see the lines coming into it from the boxes. The one that says owner mode X, that table under the box is the application.countries table. And it's got an index name on there as well. The index name is PK application countries. That line from the box and the contents in the box itself, it's saying this query has a key lock. It is an owner of a key lock on the primary key of application.countries. And I know it's a key lock because at the top of the box it says key lock. The arrow at the bottom, it's pointing to the other box saying request mode X. That one is, if we look inside the box, application.stateprovinces. So I am requesting, I want a key lock on the primary key of the state provinces table. So I've got a lock on the countries table. I want a lock on the state provinces table for the query who's doing the updates. If we go over to the query on the left, the one who has the big old X on it, that's our victim, so sad. The box at the bottom has an arrow pointing at him and it says owner mode. When, that box is the state provinces box. So this one has a key lock on the primary key of the state provinces table. The other line to the top box says request mode. I am requesting a key lock on countries. Putting this, all together, the query on the right who's doing the updates is saying, you are blocking my key lock on state provinces. Whereas the query on the left is like, well, you're blocking my key lock on countries. The way that locking works in SQL Server, because these happen to start and collide at the same time, it's like they're on a really narrow road and they just can't get past one another. They do not have a mechanism for one of them to temporarily back up and let the other one pass. The only way that they can release locks is if something comes in and kills them off entirely and they release their locks forever until they come back and retry. That's what the deadlock monitor steps in and does. It comes in and looks at them and says, who looks like they should be voted off the island? I am a Survivor fan. And in this case, the select query, it was declared the victim, it was killed off, so it released all of its locks. It doesn't even want a lock anymore because it's gone. And our query on the right, who does the updates, is the victor and proceeds. Wow, that's rough. That's the problem. So how do we solve this? When I am looking at these, and the first thing I do is just try to step through it and understand. Because just, taking in all the information is somewhat time consuming. So, sort of hover around, look at stuff, make some notes, and figure out what it all means. But then, once I have the information, I try to narrow down what the conflict is, and I look at the indexes on the table first. Indexes, how I said it's like two queries on a narrow road. My question is always, is there a way I can get one of these queries onto a different road so that they just pass one another by on, roads that are near one another, but not the exact same index or the exact same road? Query on the left is that select query. It wants a key lock on the primary key of countries. That's what it's requesting. That's what it's blocked on. Query on the right is the update query who wants the key lock on the primary key of state provinces. So here's your challenge. Given this information, Can you design an index that will create two different roads so that these queries just pass one another by and they do not collide in an index? That's a challenge. Take some time, sketch it out, see if you can, and think of how it does, and feel free to go ahead and test this out in the Wide World Importers database yourself too before you check your answer in the next video.